Welcome back to the channel, guys, and another video on the classic minivan. Right, so today's quite exciting. On the floor next to me is the first load of panels really that we're going to need to deal with. It's going to get a bit confusing if you've not done a mini before. However, I'm trying to try and do it in an order that makes sense to me, so bear with. We'll get into the panels in a minute. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. Comment away. Loads of people like seeing the classic minis and loads of people kind of get the help and kind of drive back to do their own projects, and I love that. I love that community that we have in the comments, so please comment away in there, ask any questions you want. I'm just a guy in the shed as well, knocking some metal together, trying to build a car and following a childhood dream of having a classic minivan because I'm weird and I wanted a van as a dream car. Oh, and the Amazon and that, and yeah, I like quite a few cars. But yeah, we're following dreams, guys, and let's do that together. So, in true YouTube fashion, we all like an unboxing, don't we? Now, I have opened this because I did need to check that it was all correct. However, I can't knock my M Machine. They've always been pretty decent with that. So, let's get stuck into it. Loads of random cardboard, which we do like to use. So, first up, we've gone for the A-panel setup. So, obviously, that is for up in there. However, M Machine do it where the doorpost, A-panel, and part of the doorstep is all intact, and up there is rotten on ours. So to me, oh, it just gets all the rot as well, I think. So we're going to find out. But yeah, this to me seemed like an absolute no-brainer. This panel itself isn't particularly cheap. However, I do feel like one that is in, it's a massive chunk of that area done. So we've got that. Basically, we're focusing on the left-hand side here, guys. Obviously, I know I need a lot more panels than this. So that's one. Next up, the bubble wrap out of the way, is the actual doorstep itself. So you've just seen I've already got like that bit, it's come on that panel, so I'll cut it there. However, this is meant to be the right profile for a Mark 1-2 / minivan pickup. They have the same kind of area, doorstep, A-panel setup. So, and if you probably noticed, this van never ever had a doorstep. It's never had one in my ownership. Someone's already cut it out. So we obviously needed that. It was an absolute no-brainer. So we'll set that down there. Last but not least, there's only a few panels in here, but it's kept us going. And with the free time that we have, it'll keep us out of trouble. So this is the one I was most looking forward to getting and having a look at. So this here is the floor panel. So it's actually got the support built in there with the seatbelt anchor and stuff like that. And now I opt to not have the seal attached because I don't need it. I actually don't need any of this either. All of mine's solid up here. So we're going to flip the van over now and have a proper chat about the panels, but let's have a quick look at them. So with the van flipped over, you can kind of see what we're meant to be going for here. So this is what I was saying about a coarser floor repair. So there's your first flute, and that's going to come in there and basically sort out all of our issues. Obviously it needs a bit of trimming, but it should sort out all of our issues. So that's the first panel to have a look at. I have to say, M Machine do quite well with what they've got. They're nice to weld as well, they're proper metal, you know, nice and thick. So pretty chuffed at that. Like I say, we'll lose the bits we don't want. I don't want to get too involved up in there, but when we get cutting away, if it does look crappy, then at least we've got it, haven't we? So, happy with that. So, let's flip the car back round and I'll show you the A-panel area a little bit easier. And it's going to make it so much easier with this fantastic jigs. The jig from rolloverjigs.com makes my life so much easier in here. So here we are with the panel. So I'll bring you guys in. With this panel here, obviously I've got quite a lot of rot all the way up to the top here and basically nothing here. Because if you all remember, that is what used to be there. So yeah, not really a lot going on, is there? So the reason I went for this is it kind of gives me all of that back, And just having a quick look at that, I think it's about an inch away from being able to take the whole lot. So we will probably cut it, repair this piece here so I've got something to weld to, and then go from there. But it basically eliminates all of that rot in that corner and gives me a nice solid base. Right, so there are the panels. We do love an unboxing. And now what I'm going to do is get the van outside, obviously, because I can't do the bits and pieces I want to do inside in a nice warm workshop that I have. And we're going to kick it outside, get out in actually a nice winter sun. It's actually lovely out there, so we're going to go sort that out. And I'm going to adjust my bracing first, so I'm going to do that off camera quickly. Basically I'm going to move it all inboard and support the cross member, so when I start cutting, in theory things won't move. We're also going to do some measurements, so go subscribe while I get outside. So here we are, outside again. It's a bit windy, so I do apologise for the wind noise, but there is a microphone up there on the camera, so hopefully that's helping. So as you can see, I've kind of adjusted the bracing. So I did have someone to put a bracing really low down, and you couldn't even try a door on with it there. It was like the door bin hit it. So then I put this one a bit further up, but then that still didn't work because now I want to cut that panel out. So what I've done is move that one up and then brace that, so everything's held up and long ways. So I've gone ahead as well and done some measurements. So I've done a sill to door frame measurement, and it's pretty much the same as the other side, which is quite rare for a Mini. They're normally very much different. Not one Mini, this is what I try to say, guys, this is a bit of a tip out of this video, not one Mini is ever the same. So please don't go, what's your measurements? Or how have you done that? Or what? They're not the same, trust me, they're not. Like, everyone was slightly different from the factory. I've done quite a few now, and I've written down, like for the argument's sake, the MPI, I wrote down all the measurements for the door aperture there. It is completely different to the door aperture I did on the sidewalk and stuff like that. They're not the same. So don't ever take what people say in forums or something as gospel, because it isn't right. Every car has a bit of a history. Like, this might have been in an accident, you don't know, then pulled out, but maybe not quite the same to the other side, but got the door to fit. So please do bear that in mind. So what we're going to tackle in this episode is, as much as I want to cut the floor out more and do more of the floor, I don't think it's the right thing to do right now. I want to try and get a door frame back in, so then I've got the height to put the inner sill back in and tie everything back together. So I think what we're going to do is work with this lovely panel we've got here. Now I've done a door step to door frame measurement that side, like I say, and where this would sit technically is going to be level with this. It's actually bob on. So what I'm going to do is completely use this panel and come up to where I need to up here, and obviously this is completely gone, there's nothing here, so it'd be quite nice to see a panel again, and then kind of go with that. That's what I think I want to do, because then I can then put the door step in lower down and then build the floor up to that. Not normally the normal way to do it, but I've also not dealt with a car that's rusted in this kind of way, so by doing this I get rid of all of that rot and also put all the strength back into that pillar, which I'm quite concerned about isn't a lot there. So once this panel's off, I can't just put this back in either. I've got to repair back and get everything back, so like this side of things is a bit crusty, so I'll bring you in and show you. So what I'm trying to say here, and I hope you guys can kind of see it, is mine's rotten all the way along here, so that's all hold. Now the panel comes up to about here, so I've kind of got about an inch above it, which I'm going to have to repair, but I want to cut it away first so I know how much of it I've got to repair. And then if you look on this side where the scuttle is, this seam is completely gone. Now I may have to put a full scuttle in it, or I might repair this section and keep the original scuttle, and I know the windscreen's going to fit, and it's nice to not get involved with a scuttle if you don't have to, because it's actually pretty decent once I cut things away. So I'm toying the idea of keeping the scuttle. It's a nice thing to keep if you can on a car. So what I'm going to actually try and do is repair that, and then I've got something to weld that panel to. Now obviously I won't weld it to this wing because we're cutting this wing off, aren't we? So that I'm going to basically trim this back so I can kind of see where I need to be and then go from there. So it is measured, like I say, and it in theory, if I put this one back exactly where this one was, I'm not going to have any issues. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to go and try and find a door, to do have a bit of a scrap door, and I'm just going to try it up in the aperture now and just see how it all fits. But obviously I've got no door step, so it's completely pointless, which is why I want to kind of get this tacked in and then go from there. Right, tools, no more talking. Right, so been a little bit busy off camera. As you can see, I've now mocked this up into its rough position. So like previously mentioned, there isn't too much to go off on this side, and not one side or one mini is ever the same. So I have had no real choice but to take some reference off the other side and hope that it's somewhere right. Now, before I cut this out, the original one, which you can kind of see, that's, you know, that's kind of what we had. So not a lot to go off. I used the door pillar and measured across and done all my bits and pieces like that. So that's the only measurement I've got, is what was left of this, and then cross-reference that side, try and get it the same, and then we can work with that, can't we? So how I've got it here, it fits pretty well. So the swage line there works really well, it fits really well there. The profile down here is absolutely fine. Obviously we're not going to weld to this old crusty wing, and we are missing the doorstep, the rest of it, but we have that. Obviously, like I say, that arrived in the same delivery. So all I want to do is try and get this post in. Now I know inside there's a flitch panel in there that we need to repair, and these should have an inner A panel as well, but you fit all that, you can do all that from the other side. This is just a basic post, otherwise I've got no way of knowing where my floor, where my doorstep, where the inner sill, any of it can go. So I have to get, in my head, I have to get this in, otherwise I've got nowhere to put anything. So that's what we're going to do, but we've got a little bit of a problem first before we get into that. So I hope you can hear me with a bit of wind noise that we've got coming through. So you can see this is where the new panel comes up to, but it's actually rotten up to there. So you can see where I've just put the little pen line. So what I'm going to do is just make a little piece to kind of come down to here. So I've marked off where this wants to be and where that wants to be, and then I'm just going to literally put a piece in there. So I'm going to go off and do that on camera. Now, I've got the issue this side as well, so I've highlighted it for the purpose of the video. So all of that there really needs to go, but if I do a scuttle, I might use a scuttle repair section, because I want to keep the original scuttle if I can. So I'm in two minds to try and make that and mess around with trying to make this swage line and get all this in and all that kind of stuff. Oh, Gloria. When, you know, I'm going to be cutting that out again, if you know what I mean, to put it in for a panel that's already got the right profile and the right swage line there and the right profile there. So I think what I'm going to do is get this in a solid, so the post is set up flush, and we just leave it not attached to any of that. Because once it's attached all the way down there, it's not going anywhere, and then obviously it will again then get attached to there, so we can leave it with some clamps and some screws if need be until we get onto the front end of the car. But you can see, you know, that's pretty much bob on there, and does, I mean, it looks night and day, doesn't it, compared to what was there. So I'm going to make that piece up, I think, while leaving that in situ, and then all I've got to do is just nick out a little bit down here, and then we can look at getting this kind of drilled and kind of ready really, and prepare the underside of it to get it in. So I'm probably going to get it pretty much welded there, and as many welds as I want down this point, but I might not fully weld this in yet, you know, so it's just in case it's got to go somewhere. But I've been a bit cheeky, and over there in the workshop you can kind of see it there, there's a blue door. That is an absolutely mint new old stock kind of weld. It's off a very early off a Mark 1, but it's absolutely mint. So I'm going to use that, and I've just offered it up, and it fits nigh on, you know, pretty well. The gaps are pretty good round it, the hinges line up perfectly with these hinge holes. So I'm going to have to go with that, and I can make some adjustments later down the line. Right, now I'm just getting really giddy. I mean, that yeah, obviously I'm not using any of this piece, I've just sat it over the top, and I'm not using much of the back piece. I'm pretty much using just a few bit, you know, half of it in the middle. But I've never had a doorstep, so that was a proud moment just to see the fact that it kind of all fits. Right, let's get some repairs done, and let's try and get this panel in, at least in this episode, before we get rain and lose the light. So let's do that, and then I can trim this one and get this one prepped, ready to go next, and then we can get onto the floor. While I am cracking on with the minivan and we are working, remember to go check out our sponsors, Minimine. There is a link on the screen now for the discount code 10% off when you spend £15 or more on their eBay store. The link to that is in the description below, so go check them out. While you're there, why not become a member? It's a lovely way to support the channel, or a Patreon, either or. Patreon, you get a little bit of seeing updates. Members and stuff, you get, you know, the same kind of stuff, and you know, it just helps the channel. So if you wouldn't mind, that'd be great. If not, merchandise is available. eBay shops is also in below, and yeah, let's crack on. So we're going to go towards the van. So as you can see, I've got that section in there, and I'm dead chuffed with that. That's literally like, you can literally not tell it's been done. I'm well happy with that. As you can see, we've now got this section. I'm gonna have to do the same up there because that's all hold, but we'll deal with that as we go up to that other hole up there and that other hole over there. So really could have done a door frame, but you know, work with what you've got and stuff. So yeah, that's in, dead flush, really nice. Done my measurements and checks on this. This is the best I think I'm gonna get it. I'm not going to fully weld it in. I mean, it's not going to get attached to this old wing, so that's going to be left flapping a little bit. I might just leave some clamps on it just to hold it in place. So I'm going to get this actually properly welded, so I've got my structure back, and I'm basically going to do every other spot weld. So I've drilled some holes. You can see some copper weld-free primer in there. All of this has been rust treated up inside here, and obviously we have got, can't really see it, an inner panel to go in there yet. So that is something we'll deal with when we do the front end. I've never done a Mark 1, Mark 2 A-panel, never done one in my life, so I'm working with what I got. I went for this panel because it's been highly recommended, and it's given me back all the bits of the car that are missing. So I'm losing the light, it's about to rain. I want to get this video out for you guys, so leave it with me. I'm going to get every other spot weld done, and we'll bring it back inside maybe and have a proper look, and then see what the next point of call is. So that's us back indoors again. It is pitch black outside and it is 35 minutes past 3. So yeah, that's the UK in the winter. So this is in to a point. My measurements are there. I tried that door on, as you saw in that time lapse, and the holes to the hinges line up and the swage line lines up. That's as far as I can really go for now. We're somewhere close. Both this measurement matches that measurement over there. So that's about as, yeah, you get what I'm saying. I can't really do much more than that right now. Along here, we've got to get the doorstep in next. That'll be my next job. So we'll trim down that new panel. We keep both end sections, remember, we keep all the offcuts of panels for whatever else we need. But we'll get that piece in there, and then that means I can cut the floor out, because then we've got somewhere to bring the floor up to. I wanted to deal with this first, which seems a bit backwards after I started doing the floor, then ordered the floor panel, purely because I haven't got anything to tie it together, like I said. So quite chuffed with that. It's not fully in. I don't want to put it fully in case I've got to drill it out and take it out and move it or do whatever, but it's there. I'm pretty confident I haven't got to do that, but you never know. You feel like you're rushing outside because you've got people driving around, yeah, loads of excuses, but it's in. So yeah, pretty happy. That is I guess we can turn around and say that is one proper panel into this van. I mean, look at the state of, you know, that was basically what the A-panel looked like. So it is a massive improvement. So it's yeah, I can't knock that. It looks really good. That panel was very, very nice. I could very much recommend that. It fits perfectly up there. You know, it hasn't really taken a lot of work to get where it needs to be. And it's, well, it's night and day for my vehicle anyway. Every car's a little bit different. Like I said, there's an inner panel that goes inside there, which is a support hinge panel, which has got other holes as well on the inside and gives it the structure. You can kind of see on what was left. So the inner panel looks a little bit like that with the brackets on it. So I haven't bothered getting them because we're nowhere near close to lining doors up or doing front end. So we'll deal with that when we get to the front end. But yeah, it's in and we're happy. Happy this is braced, nothing's moved. I've measured it again when I've got it inside and everything seemed hunky-dory. So I'm gonna part this video here. I'm gonna try and carry on over the Christmas break. So this is a couple of weeks before Christmas. So obviously everyone's busy at this time. I'm gonna try and get a video out, like a bit of an update on this channel, because there's a lot of cars that have disappeared and we need to know a bit of a direction what's going on, don't we guys? But however, I kind of covered that, so we'll see. But I will give you a nice Christmas video anyway, I always try. So let's do that. I'm happy. If I can not get anything else done this year, I've started on the van properly, haven't I? But we will get some more done, hopefully. I'm gonna go and probably take a look at the Amazon next, as that's a bit of indoor work I can do when it's dark, and we'll hopefully get some Amazon content for you. So if you're here for both, happy. If you're here for one or the other, perfect. Right, remember to go check out our sponsors once again. Minimine, discount code on the screen, 10% off when you spend £15 more on an eBay store. You can get your bits for your Mini. Buy a Mini a Christmas present. That is a cool thing to do. Let's go and do that. I bought mine a Christmas present from M Machine, and yeah, we're on with it. Right, catch you all soon, and thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment away. Have you used M Machine? Would you do anything differently? I'm just kind of, I want to say winging it. I'd like to think I'm a bit more clued up than that, but I am kind of winging it because I haven't. This has been completely cut out, so I'm really quite enjoying this. I like a challenge. So catch you next one, guys, and stay safe.